Hello and welcome to the YouTube channel of mprugs.com. My name is Mike. I'm the moderator in a series of videos that is all about handmade carpets from around the world. I welcome you to our channel and I hope you and your family are doing well. In today's episode, this is a very special episode for those of you that are passionate about the Turkish silk rugs known as the Hereke carpets. The Turkish Hereke carpets, I got 4 pieces right here. And these are some of the best known, most collected, the highest valued and appreciated types of handmade silk carpets that used to be made in Turkey up until about 1990s when the influx of the Chinese imitation rugs basically virtually destroyed the homegrown, the Turkish, the carpet manufacturing. And this is something I talked about in a lot of the other videos that I have made. But in today's episode, this is all about a collection of 4 pieces that you are probably never going to see at the same time, at the same location. These are all beyond masterpiece quality. These are 2020 quality, and this large piece is an actual 2222 quality. And what that means is the one on my far right and the little one above me and the one on my left, these are 2020 quality, meaning they have 20 knots per centimeter. As you can see, and I'm just going to use an example. I'm going to showcase each one of these pieces. And I have showcased some of these in their own videos. But I've had so many people asking me about the Turkish Hereke rugs that I thought I show you our collection, since some of these rugs are actually going to be leaving us soon to go to our clients' homes. Again, it's really rare. For those of you that know how valuable, how rare these older pieces are, and these are not the few pieces that are nowadays still being made in Turkey. These are older pieces. Like in the case of the Cinar and especially the Ozipek, the little one above me, these are pieces, the workshops don't exist anymore. And those that do exist, excuse me, like for example, you'll notice in the Hereke rugs, they are really not allowed. They're not supposed to use the word Hereke anymore, since that word, that trademark was actually licensed to the Chinese, which again, this is something I talk about in some of my other videos. But in the case of the Cinar, and I'm just going to give you an example here. If you look at the picture, you can actually see what I mean when I say 2020 quality. Just to give you an idea, that's 20 knots over 1 centimeter. Or to put it into a mind-boggling, just to describe it, that's 2 knots per millimeter. 2 knots. Now each knot is half a millimeter. And this is done by hand, and it's done with what is known as a Turkish knot. A Turkish knot is like a double knot. Imagine taking your shoes. When you tie your kids' shoes, or like I do with my own shoes, I always put a double knot in it. Now imagine if you were to put a double knot into a rug, and the knot is going to be so tight, the silk is so fine, and yet it has to be so durable that you can actually make a knot that is half a millimeter and it is done by hand. This is not a machine that makes it. This is not done under a microscope. This is handmade art at its finest. These are extremely high quality silk rugs. So in the case, for example, we have an older piece here that's it was done by the Cinar workshop. This piece right here is actually one of my own personal favorites. And I'm actually just going to move my chair and get this out of the way because, like I said, these are such incredible pieces. I've had so many people asking me about them that, and like I said, a couple of these pieces are actually probably going to be going to some of my clients' homes. And these are the kinds of pieces that the collectors of these are the finest types of handmade rugs. This is what people collect. So this is not something that you literally, most of my clients don't even hang these on walls. They literally purchase these and they're going to treat them like almost like a stamp collection or like a rare book. These are rare pieces of art. So like, for example, in the case of the Cinar here, and I'm going to get behind the camera and show you guys the details. When you look at the Cinar, this little sunset that you can see, and I got the picture right here, this little sunset cost me nearly $2,000. This is, if it had not been for this piece, this part of the rug right there, because I have not seen, the 2020 quality pieces are extremely rare to begin with. When I saw this rug, we had the opportunity to buy it, but the price was, in my opinion, too high. After all, we are a business, so we have to look at our bottom line. But when it comes to these types of rugs, individual pieces, it's hard to, we can go by the general rule, like, for example, as I'm going to introduce you to this piece later, this is more of a classic piece. So on this type of a design, we can look at the design and say, okay, well, we may not have an identical piece like it, but we have something similar. Whether it's colors, design, layout, size, we have something similar to go by. So in the case of the Cinar, we had a number of things going. Number one, it is extremely rare to find the Turkish Hereke in that 2020 quality. In fact, that was the first one that we had the opportunity to actually get our hands on. Second, the design was unique and everything, but what literally almost forced me to pull the trigger was that sunset area right there. The way the sun shimmers off the water, it's just absolutely amazing. I had to have it. This is also what collectors look for. They want something that is just completely out of the norm, and it's just at another level. And so, but I wanted to show you, like I said, there is a picture of it. When I get behind the camera and show you the details, you'll understand why these are not only extremely expensive, but these are really the top of the line. Now, when you speak of top of the line, I'm going to leave this larger piece for the end. There is a unique story of it. When you look at the four pieces, this may right here, this piece, this Hereke right here, it says mashallah, which is Farsi. Mashallah means damn. It's almost like the guy spent 2 years weaving a rug, and when he was finally almost done, he said, damn, I'm done. That is what mashallah means. But there is something very particular about this story. I'm going to leave this one actually for the end, because even though it has a very traditional design, it's anything but. and you'll understand why when we'll get to it. Then over here on my left, this is a very rare find. This is actually the first time that we found a genuine old Ozipek. The Ozipek rugs, the Ozipek workshop is one of the best known old school workshops, decimated when the Chinese, basically with the Chinese influx. But with the Ozipeks, with the older pieces, these are extremely, my collectors, our clients, they love them because the silk quality, you can feel an Ozipek, and you know why they are so appreciated and why they are about 20-30% more expensive than same quality, same grade other Turkish Hereke rugs. And sometimes nowadays there are some people who will weave the Hereke rugs and they'll add the signatures. But we can tell, for those of us who know about the rugs, when we hold them in our hands, we know this is an older piece. But again, you have a 20/20 quality, and that is really exceptional for the Ozipeks. Then here at the end, you have another 20/20 quality. This is, with the people dancing. It almost looks like what could be like a wedding, a Turkish wedding from the old days. And really exceptional piece. So we have a genuine, and these are all older pieces, very important. But you have Hereke, Hereke Ozipek, Hereke Cinar, all three of them 20/20 quality. But this one right here, this is a 22/22 quality. So think about it. 20/20, 20/20, 20/20. When you do it, when you do the math, you're talking about rugs. These three rugs have 2,500 knots per square inch. You take 20 knots per centimeter, convert that into inches, that's 2.5, so that's 50 knots per inch. 50 times 50, that's 2,500. 2,500 double knotted knots per square inch, handmade, for those three pieces. Then all of a sudden, this is why I left this one for the end, you have a 22/22 quality. You take 22 times 2.5, square that number, and you have a rug that has over 3,100 knots per square inch. Again, handmade. This is just, I cannot tell you how utterly Godsmack. This is just absolutely dumbfounding. I don't know how they could have made this back then. I know they used, oftentimes, these rugs were made with like a focal glass, almost like a magnifying glass over it. But it is such a tedious work. You have small rugs here that even a very small piece like the Cinar 20/20, that could easily have taken a year back in the days. These are, and this is also why they tend to be small pieces. You look at the Ozipek, this is not much bigger than a piece of paper. But it is such delicate, it is so painstakingly detailed, and it is so difficult to make that even a small rug like this can take 8 to 9 months to make. It's absolutely, remember, this is full time. This is also why they are no longer being made, because the labor cost is so high that back then, each one of these rugs was worth a nicely equipped, low-end luxury car. For the price of these original rugs, when these were originally sold, the buyers could have bought themselves an entry-level Mercedes. That is how much these rugs cost back then. We had the crash in the 1990s, but they are now coming back up again in value. But this is not about, I don't like doing appraisals and everything, and when I talk on the channel, but I wanted to showcase it's so rare to have 4 rugs of this caliber at the same time that I know I have a lot of collectors out there, and so I wanted to showcase these 4. Now, before I get behind the camera and show you the details, I just want to briefly point out to you, if you like our channel, if you're into Persian rugs, or in this case, if you're into the Turkish, the Hereke rugs, there is a ton of videos about the Hereke rugs, where I also, for example, compare them with the Chinese ones. I try to help those of you that have purchased rugs and you want to know the difference. There's also a link to a video below where I show you what kind of pictures I need in case you have questions and you want to ask me about rugs. I typically, as a growth of our channel, as just amazingly keeps growing, I make myself available. I don't do appraisals, but if you own a carpet and you just want some quick information about it, I can certainly take a look at the pictures if I get the right pictures in front of me and give you a quick answer as to what you have or any tips and all that. So that's not a problem. So again, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get behind the camera, then I'm going to come back to you at the end and say my quick goodbye. So I'm going to see you again in a little bit. If you like our channel, hit that subscribe button and we'll see you then. So to get started, I'm going to, with the close-ups, here we have the Cinar piece, and I'm just going to hold this up. Now, as you can see here by the colors, absolutely amazing. And as I mentioned to you, I cannot actually zoom in. Well, I'm going to do my very best here. Hold on. Let's see. I don't want to lose the focus. But this is what a 20 knots per, like I said, 20 knots per inch. That is what you're looking at right here. Absolutely amazing. There is, I really don't know how to put it. And this is old school. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. Then here we have, this is now the 2222. And like I said, for us, when we were able to get this piece, and because these are extremely expensive. I mean, this is about as good as it gets. I mean, we have seen higher quality pieces in museums. And nowadays, there are some weavers in Turkey who are producing even finer pieces. But the thing is, the silk quality of the old days, you cannot compare them to the silk of today. The silk of today is so much lighter, but it is also not as durable. And this is one of the ways that I always tell people when it comes to, think of the steel. One of the reasons why classic cars, people appreciate them, is because in the old days, imagine a guy who made a car in the 1950s. The amount of effort that had to go into making a handmade car with the steel back then and the tools that were available was so much more difficult than the cars of today. This is why the classic cars are as valuable as they are. And the same thing with the carpets. The silk back then is of a much more durable, much denser quality. And this is something that, for example, you can see in the much older pieces. Like, for example, we have the Ozipek. With the Ozipek, the genuine Ozipeks, these are pieces that were made between 1900 and about 1980, 1990. Starting about the 1990s, they started shutting down the workshops with the weavers. And but the thickness and the density of the Ozipeks just takes it to another level. And again, so we had the Cinar 2020, we have this beautiful Hereke 2222, we have the little Ozipek right here, then we have another Hereke. And as I mentioned to you, as you can see here by the crowd, by the folks, obviously they're singing. You got someone playing the flute, and this is very, very traditional. It's almost like a wedding type thing. But also the design, these are what, again, they look like, but because there are so many imitations out there, I always tell my clients, you have to be really, really mindful, because you're talking about rugs that cost in the tens of thousands. This right here is an extremely expensive collection. And so if you are looking at spending large sum of money, make sure that it is legitimate. Make sure that you know who you're dealing with, because nowadays, the only places where you can really get these types of carpets, they're being still made, and most of them are Chinese imitation ones. And instead of using the Turkish knot, they use a different knotting technique that basically allows them to mass produce these types of rugs. They're handmade, but they are nowhere near of the level of detailing as these. And they're also able to then sell them at a fraction of the cost, which I've talked about in my other videos. So again, I just wanted to show you guys these close-ups. And so now I'm just going to come back to you with my final goodbyes. So there, I hope you enjoyed this video into the world of almost the surreal when it comes to handmade rugs. Again, I hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions, feel free to let us know. Hit that subscribe button if you would like to be updated when we present new videos and everything. And there's a lot of information also below in the description. Until I come back to you with many more videos, I wish you and your family the very best. So until we see each other again, take care and best wishes. Bye-bye.